Hi, Terry here. Welcome to another video. Over this Labor Day weekend, it just suddenly occurred to me that I haven't had my Great Plains rifle out even once all year. So I decided to get out here to the test range and fire up a few rounds. So let me tell you a little bit about this. I've done several other videos on it, but this is the Great Plains rifle made by Lyman. This one is in 54 caliber. It is a flintlock. And no, your eyes are not deceiving you. This is set up in a left-handed configuration, which is a good thing since I'm left-handed. It weighs in at a whopping 9 pounds. Now you can get used to the weight, but it's not light by any stretch of the imagination. And let's see, what else? It has adjustable front and rear sights. And the strange thing about that is I've had this for about 10 years now. Bought it about 10 years ago, $800 if I remember right. The same thing today in a percussion lock right-handed configuration costs around $1,000. I paid a little extra for both. But if you shopped around, again, if you got a cap lock right-handed configuration, you might be able to find one for about $800, $900. But in all that time, I never zeroed in the sights. I've just been shooting this thing with factory zeroed sights. So I didn't really know how accurate it may or may not be. So I got it out, as you can see, shoot a few rounds at a target, and let's go see how good I am. So first 2 rounds and the third. So you can see I flinched a little on that one, but it really should have been down in here. But not bad. I mean, let's say, forget that one because that was a flinch, but still it's in the kill zone. It's 10 points. One in the bullseye and one nearly in the bullseye. That's good enough. This was me. This was the rifle. So yeah, it's sighted in pretty good. So you might be thinking that I'm shooting kind of close to the target for a rifle. And you're right, but this is about as far back as I can get in my test range. I've got some trees over here to the left that would be difficult to shoot through. So yeah, so it's not bad though. So let me tell you a little bit more about this rifle. Again, it's made by Lyman, and it's not a work of art. All right, it's there's really nothing fancy about it. For example, look, it's got a cheek piece, but it's a very simple cheek piece. It's got no patch box. All of the trim is steel. It's not brass. There's a couple little gaps between the stock and the woodwork here. There's no carving or decoration on the stock at all. It's got a decent piece of walnut for the stock, but not world class, but relatively decent. It's just a simple, sturdy hunting gun. This is the kind of thing you could drop off a horse a few times and it's still going to shoot. One thing to point out though about flintlock, since the demise of GoX, we're having to use either black powder substitute like a 777 or a Pyrodex or something, or make our own powder. Now, the thing about these substitutes, the ones that I've tried anyway, is that out in the open, they burn too slowly. For example, you can't use a 777 in the flash pan of a flintlock. It just burns too slowly compared to real black powder. But you don't have to take my word for it. This is a teaspoon of F 777 uncompressed in the open. And this is a teaspoon of my homemade F black powder. Did you notice a difference? And that's why you cannot use at least 777 And I ran a test with Pyrodex and got the same result. With a flintlock, you really need to use black powder, which in my opinion, if you're going to shoot black powder, you need to use black powder anyway. That's part of the whole fun, right? So I make my own black powder now that GoX is gone, and got a video coming up on that soon to show you exactly how I do that. But as you saw from that test, it's not bad. I mean, it's not the best again, but it's not bad. I'd say it's equivalent to a GoX anyway, maybe a little better. So enough talk. We came out here to shoot. So as it just so happens, there's a pretty green buffalo down there. Let's load it up and shoot it. Now the first thing that you're going to notice, put it on half cock and close the frizzen, is that I don't put powder in the flash pan first like I do with the, say, the heavy Dragoon. I actually charge the flash pan last. Now the reason for that is because, you know, when you put a ball, any kind of bullet projectile in this barrel, it's full of air. And all that air's got to go somewhere, right? So with an unpatched ball, say an undersized, unpatched ball, there's plenty of room for the air to work its way around the ball and come out the barrel. But if you put a patch on it, there's nowhere for that air to go. It can't get past that patch, so it's going to come out the touch hole. And I have literally blown every grain of powder out of the flash pan before with a patched ball before I figured that out. I do not load from a measure. I load directly from the powder horn. I guess the question is, aren't I afraid of an ember down in the barrel causing a flash up into the powder horn and blowing myself up? No, I'm not. That's actually a modern myth invented by some safety ranger. The problem is this: everybody seems to believe it. Then there are people who even claim that they saw it happen. I have been unable to find a single verifiable account ever of anybody ever blowing themselves up pouring powder down a barrel from a powder horn. Not a single coroner's report, police report, hospital report, nothing. Newspaper account, all right, that I could go back and verify. I have seen a few fakes, most of them really bad, and it didn't take much fact checking at all to disprove them, but not one single verifiable account. I'm sure there's one out there somewhere. There's like 138 million people in America. I'm sure it's happened, you know, 1 in a million times somewhere in the past. But I can't even find a single historic account of anybody blowing themselves up by pouring powder down the horn. And another thing, and why is it suddenly so safe to pour powder down that same barrel from a measure? If that ember's down in here and it's going to flash up this barrel and into my powder horn, why isn't it going to flash up into my powder measure and blow my fingers off? Huh? Or at least give me third-degree burns. How many times do you ever see somebody walking around? Yeah, I was pouring powder from a measure and it flashed up into my pan and blew my fingers off. No, somehow, for some reason, it's suddenly magically safe. It's safe. We can pour all the powder you want down the barrel. It's in a measure. It's safe. Okay, first of all, I don't get in any hurry to reload, as you may have noticed. Blow down the barrel. Give it time for any embers that may be in there to go out. Also, I use a lightly damp swab that I run down the barrel, as you just saw me do, between every shot. Why? I ain't in a hurry. It's a flintlock. You know, if I want to shoot as fast as possible, I've got other options. Flintlocks aren't fast. They aren't meant to be fast. So, anyway, with this horn, I've discovered 1 second equals 10 grains. So I'm going to load this with a 70 grain charge. Now, Lyman states that with a double F powder, a full charge is 120 grains, and with a triple F powder, it's 100 grains. This is a triple F, but I'm only going to load it with around 70 grains. And there we are, more or less 70 grains. We might be a little over, we're not under, and we're certainly within the 100. Take a ball and a greased patch. And you'll also notice that I use the wood ramrod that came with the rifle. I don't use a steel guide or anything like that. I use my finger and my thumb to keep the rod off of the barrel. There we are. Make sure it's down nice and tight. Charge the pan. Make sure I put the stopper back on just in case there's a stray spark blowing around. Oh yeah, also you'll notice that it's got double set triggers. See, it's got 2 triggers. So it's got 2 triggers, but only 1 barrel. So what's that second trigger for? I can load this, cock it, and shoot it just by pulling that front trigger. It's got a 3-4 pound pull. It's not real hard. It's actually lighter than my Dragoon pistol, but it's a little heavier than I would like for, say, hunting or precision shooting. So by pulling this back trigger until I feel it click or set, that then reduces the trigger pull needed on this front trigger to just about a 1/2 pound. That's adjustable. It's got a set screw, and I've worked it down to just about a 1/2 pound. And to keep that in perspective, that is just the lightest pressure of my trigger finger on the trigger. So I don't really want to carry it around set in that hair trigger state. So I can carry it perfectly safe until I'm ready to shoot. Then I can set that back trigger and then I just touch that front trigger and it fires. And what that does really is it just reduces both the odds that I'm going to flinch when I'm shooting and the amount of flinch. So let's give it a shot here. Also, you're going to notice that I'm using a shooting stick. Why? Got arthritis in my right shoulder. I can't hold this thing out there very much anymore, free-handed. Well, that's not entirely true. I can, but then over the next couple of days, I'll kind of wish I hadn't. So now, let's see if I can hit that sody bottle buffalo from here. Yeah. Whew. I love the smell of gunpowder in the morning. That never really gets old. Let's shoot another one. Hey, stick around. My next video, I promise will be a short one, is about how to clean the Lyman Great Plains rifle after shooting it. So stick around. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. Click the like and subscribe buttons. It helps me out a lot. And you're not going to get inundated with any kind of propaganda or anything, so don't worry about that. And if you have subscribed, thank you. I appreciate each and every one of you. 722, I think now. So, thanks for watching. See you next time.